Hi, my name is Tiffany. I was diagnosed with stage 4 bile duct cancer, also known as cholangiocarcinoma or liver cancer. I'm a mother of 4. I have 3 boys and a girl. My husband takes care of me, drives me to all my appointments, things like that. I woke up at 3 a.m. and I had really bad left flank pain. And I was in a car accident back in 2020. I was hit head on. So I've always had back pain. So it wasn't really anything shocking, but it woke me up out of a dead sleep, which had me concerned because that's never happened before. So I woke my husband up and I told him, I said, look, I have really bad pain on my back. So he was like, why don't you put the heating pad on it? And he was like, where is it? And I showed him. He goes, you probably have a kidney stone. He's like, after the kids get on the bus, I'll take you to the hospital. So my kids got on the bus for school, drove me to the hospital, and I went into the ER. And they were like, oh, it's probably a kidney stone. I wouldn't worry about it. We're going to do a CT to make sure, and we'll go from there. Like, okay, great. So in my mind, it's a kidney stone. And they did the CT, and they take me back to my little room, and the doctor comes in and she's like, you have a mass on your liver. And I was like, well, what does that mean? And she goes, we don't necessarily know. We want to do an MRI. So they pulled me back in. They did an MRI. They discovered I had a tumor on my spine. And she told me it's most likely some form of cancer. And she told me if she had to guess, it was colon cancer because I guess the way it was explained to me is cancer doesn't normally start in your liver. It normally spreads to your liver. So the odds of it starting in my liver was very slim, she said. So in her mind, she was like, I think it's colon cancer, but you need to follow up with these doctors and things like that. They asked me, they're like, you haven't been tired? And I'm like, yeah, I'm a mom of 4 with 3 kids in hockey. Like, I'm exhausted and I work a full-time job. Like, yeah, I'm exhausted. So to me, that wasn't a symptom. Um, but I mean, that's the only thing that was the left flank pain that woke me up. I immediately break down in tears. And my husband just looks like he's completely confused. Because I've generally been the healthy person out of the 2 of us. So we drive home. I'm just completely in shock, tears. I'm telling him I don't want to die. I don't want to leave my family. In my mind, like, this is cancer. It's spreading everywhere. Like, I feel like I'm a ticking time bomb. My oncologist is amazing. He got me in with a doctor at Georgetown to look at my spine, who said he wouldn't biopsy it because it was so small. And whatever my cancer came back as should treat the spine tumor. So then from after that appointment, I had to get a colonoscopy, which came back completely cleared. So that ruled out colon cancer. Then I had to get an MRI again and then a PET scan. And then they did the liver biopsy, which took, I want to say it took almost 3.5 weeks to get my results back from that because they had to keep sending it to different places to find out, I guess, the route of where it originated from. So they told me at first, they were like, we have the biopsy. Um, we're not 100% sure it started in the liver. And I was like, well, what are the chances that it did start in the liver? Like, is it not possible that it can't start in the liver? And they're like, no, it's possible, but it's not likely. And I said, okay, well, when are we going to find out? And they're like, we had to send it off to pathology for further testing to see. And I said, okay. And I had went to my oncologist has me going to a liver doctor in Baltimore who sent it to his pathology team. And they confirmed when I was at my appointment that it in fact did start in the liver and that it was liver cancer. I didn't find out until I had went to see I always butcher this doctor, the interventional radiologist. He confirmed it was cholangiocarcinoma, which I had never heard of before. And he was like, it's also known as bile duct cancer. He was like, you're stage 4 because it has spread to your spine. They started with the 3 rounds of radiation to shrink the spine tumor, which did not work. Then after the 3 rounds were done, we started with chemotherapy and immunotherapy. So the way that I'm doing mine is the first week I do 1 immunotherapy and 2 chemotherapies. And then the second week I just do 2 chemotherapies. And then my third week is my rest week. And then I restart the immuno with the 2 chemos and then the 2 chemos again. So I did 5 rounds of that. Then they stopped me because they wanted to do targeted radiation in my liver to try to kill the primary tumor that's on the left side. They did that the end of October. And once that was completed on November 4th, we did spine surgery to remove the tumor on the spine. He told me he only got 95 to 98% of the tumor out from the spine. That surgery, it was a tough surgery. I was in the hospital for a week to recover. The worst part, I think, was me having to stand up with my arms above my head for an x-ray because they had to put 5 screws in my spine because the cancer had ate away at part of my spine. So they had to look at the hardware. That was probably the worst part, was standing with my arms above my head. It was excruciating pain. They made me walk rounds around my hospital floor. They taught me how to go up and down the steps with a cane. Excuse me. I had to walk around with a walker. And that Friday, because the surgery was on Monday, so Friday, my husband came finally to pick me up and took me home, and I had to walk with the walker at home and with a cane to go in and out of the house. But once I got home, I just slept so much. The surgery was exhausting. And when you're in the hospital, you don't get a lot of sleep anyway because they're constantly waking you up for vitals and things, and the doctor's coming in to talk to you, or the nurse, and because when they did my surgery, plastic surgery had to come in to close the incision because of them having to pull like muscle flaps and things like that. So plastic surgeries coming in also, besides the neurosurgeon, to check on me. And it was just a mess. But I mean, yeah. And, I had drains in my back. Um, but all that was able to be removed. I had 23 staples and 2 sutures when I left. And they removed the staples 3 weeks after the surgery. But now it's not so bad. I still have back pain, and I don't know if it's from the cold or, sitting in a hard wooded kitchen chair. But I can walk better than I used to, which I think is, a plus. After the spine surgery, I had to have ablation surgery. I had 2 lesions pop up on the right side of my liver. So the interventional radiologist doctor, he went in and did ablations to both of those to get rid of them. And then December 16th, I went back to chemo, my immuno and chemo. I have an MRI scheduled in February to see if the targeted radiation that they did to the liver worked, and to see if there's any other new lesions that may have popped up. Um, from that point on, if I don't have any more growth, by the time I do another PET scan, which I think will be in March, if I don't have any growth or progression or spreading or anything like that, the liver doctor is going to go in and he's going to resect the left side of my liver, because the liver can regenerate itself. I cry a lot. I do take anxiety medicine to help me, which I've been on since I left the emergency room, which seems to help when I take it appropriately. Because for a while, I feel like at some point you're on so many different medicines that you're like, I can do without this one. And in my mind, I was like, I can deal without the anxiety medicine. Like, I can handle it mentally. But within the last month, and I don't know if it's just from the holidays or what, but my mental health, it was bad. Like, I was sitting at my kitchen island just crying every day. And I was like, maybe I should take my anxiety medicine like I'm supposed to every day. And it has helped. But I still, like, my daughter, she gives me a hug and a kiss every night. And I shed a tear a little bit just because it scares me, because I don't want to leave them. And I don't think anybody ever wants to leave their children. But it's a tough road. And, the not knowing, I think, is what scares me. Like, if somebody could come up to me and be like, hey, we're 100% certain you're going to get through this, I would probably be fine. But nobody can do that because nobody knows. Because my cancer is rare and it's an aggressive form. So, and from what my doctors have told me, that I'm the youngest person that they have ever seen with it, because generally my cancer doesn't happen to anybody until they're much older. And I mean, I'm only 38. So that's why they're doing all these aggressive treatments with me, because my body can handle it, they said. And the end result is in hopes to resect the liver and get clean margins, and I would probably have to do chemo for a little bit longer, which I'm fine with. But there are days when, I think I am going to get through it. And I'm like 100% in my mind. I'm like, I'm going to fight this. I'm going to get through it. I'm going to see my kids graduate, things like that. And then there's other days where I'm just like, no, I'm not. This isn't going to work. And it's normally on days just when I'm super exhausted or I'm in a lot of pain from my back. And that will trigger a lot of emotions. Or when I'm home by myself and I can think and I get inside my own head, it plays with me, plays with my mental health, and I get upset. And I also think not being able to go into the office every day like I used to, I think that plays a toll, because I was used to getting up every day, driving to work, coming home, doing homework with my kids. And now I really don't go anywhere. I just sit at home. And like in the summer, we'll go camping. But in the winter, there's really nothing for us to do. Everybody stays in the house. I try to go to as many hockey games with my kids as I can to watch them play, but it doesn't always work out. I know there's plenty of people that, my husband is one of those people that has aches or pains and he doesn't go to the doctor for anything. I pay attention to my body, hence that pain. Like, I know I have back pain, but for it to wake me up, I knew something was wrong. And so I've always paid attention to my body, as far as that goes. And having cancer, it might make you feel like you're a hypochondriac. I'm not going to lie, because ever since I've been diagnosed, every little ache and pain, I'm like, oh gosh, is this a tumor growing? Is it shrinking? Like, you don't know, because you're not getting scanned every single day. But you know, my story is just to bring awareness to cholangiocarcinoma and any other person that, just get checked, go to the doctor, do your yearly physicals. I did not do my yearly physicals. I didn't go to get blood work done yearly or anything, because I felt like I was generally a healthy person. And I was young, so in my mind, I was like, oh, nothing's going to happen to me. I'm young, but cancer, if I've learned anything, cancer doesn't discriminate against anybody. Go to the doctor, get checked, advocate for yourself strongly. You're your biggest fan. You know what's going on with your body. And if, like, when they told me that they thought I had colon cancer, and they were asking me all these symptoms that colon cancer patients have, and I'm like, no, I don't have those. And they're like, are you sure you don't have these? And I'm like, no, I know my body, I don't have these. And having to have a colonoscopy to prove that it wasn't that, it's fine. But you have to advocate for yourself, because at the end of the day, your oncologist is super busy with, dozens of other patients. And it's easy for you to get lost in that line of patients. So you have to advocate for yourself.